Invest in Africa Thought Leadership Series. My name is Michael Luchukwaku Aminin, and I am the Business Development Manager for Invest in Africa. 4 of the 10 fastest growing economies are in Africa in 2018. And to dig a little bit deeper, I have the amazing co-founder of Songhai Advisory, Mr. Nana Ampofo. Now, Songhai Advisory is an African-focused research and intelligence unit that focuses on getting information to businesses about what is going on the ground so they can take their business decisions. So, Nana, welcome to
Thank you very much.
the conversation.
Thank you.
And 2018 was very, very eventful for Africa and African business. Can you just talk about some of the major highlights that you saw?
Yeah, so you'll often hear people discuss how, make the point that Africa is a continent rather than a single country, and that makes room for a lot of diversity and experience.
Sure.
So I would add to that we run a firm that serves specific clients. We've been running for 8 years now. I would not pretend, I think we should be careful in pretending that my experience, our vantage point necessarily is everyone. So I want to put on the one hand, on the other hand, I'm an analyst by background and vocation almost, so there's always going to be a qualification in there.
Can you just talk about how many countries you're in so people have that context?
Right, yeah. So we cover 18 countries in West, Central and East Africa.
Right.
And we work across sectors in those countries.
Sure. So just taking the bird's eye view, Africa is a very different place from the 1980s, 1990s. Have you seen 2018 continue that trend of democracy, less dictators? You know, all the stereotypes of Africa. Have you seen an ease in improving on the business spectrum? Have you seen greater accountability of leaders? Have you seen the ease of moving goods across borders and infrastructure investments? Are those broadly positive things that continue to happen in 2018 and are likely to actually improve in 2019, would you say?
I would say that we have seen a continuation of piecemeal progress in most of the countries that I cover.
Okay.
That means that we will have seen productivity enhancing investments in some areas. So again, as I pointed out, I made reference to the point about mobile technology,
yes.
And the difference that's made. Let's say, for example, in the number of people that might have access to an account of some kind in a country like Côte d'Ivoire or a country like Ghana, where more and more people now have access to some level of financial services.
Yes.
And then that means that is a business there. That means that these individuals are now able to interact with the economy in ways that they weren't previously. So we've seen a continuation of some of those things. Economic agglomeration is still going on. People are still gathering more in the urban areas than they are in the rural areas. But alongside that are challenges, and those things have continued as well.
What are the key challenges that you saw in 2018?
So some of those challenges are things like when we've been looking at businesses in the agricultural sector, for example, getting hold of skilled and unskilled labour is difficult.
Okay.
If people are moving into the urban areas and you're running, a cocoa farm of some kind, it's going to be difficult to find the people to do the heavy work that you want, and it's going to be difficult to find people to do the skilled work that you want, because some of those changes happen over a long period of time. The changes in literacy, the changes in school enrollment, the quality of education being provided, these things don't happen overnight, they happen slowly. And so that's been going on. Democracy is inherently a messy process, and we've very much seen that in most of our countries. It's not a thing which typically offers overnight solutions. You could be even in a country like Ethiopia, where we've all been so excited by the degree and energy of some of the things that are happening there. It's come with challenges as well. It's been met with large-scale protests. So to expect democratization does not mean ease.
Oh, that's very good point. Very, very good point. And looking forward to 2019, we're in January right now. What do you think are going to be the main challenges and opportunities that businesses will want to, should be aware of?
Yeah, so I think in 2019 we are going to have to be doing more of the things that were successful previously. So if we've learned that we have to avoid, imagining that there are easy growth stories that you know, that, as I say, that Africa rising hyperbole is something that we've become a bit more we've matured in view of that. This growth is happening, and one of the responses to that has been diversification. So not just looking at fundamentals and then diversification within the region. Those sorts of things are becoming increasingly important because of the structural factors at home, but also looking abroad. The world is a more choppy place.
Yes.
So the growth that's come as a result of Chinese activity is, we're not sure if that's going to be there to the same degree in 2019.
And just to add a stat to that, within 14 years, China invested, it's actually its trade with Africa is 200 billion.
Yeah.
And I think the US went down from about 100 billion, 180 to now 37 billion.
Right.
So you can see that China really is driving a lot of growth.
Yeah.
I'm not so much sure about the job creation because of their model, but definitely when it comes to infrastructure, it seems they're the big drivers. Do you think that will continue in 2019?
I would expect it to continue at a slower pace. I don't think that the China, because of problems in China, so I'm not a Chinese expert, but the idea of, it seems apparent that China is increasingly focused on engendering growth and activity at home, and when we're talking about that Silk Road, Africa is part of it, but it's not the first element. It's not the most important element. I don't expect China to withdraw from the region, but I would expect an attenuation to a degree in the level of activity coming from China.
Do you think, looking at the biggest investors into Africa, the EU, they've pledged 54 billion by 2020. We'll still wait and see, and we're not sure which sectors that will be. And again, that 54 billion is likely to be more linked at how do you reduce the migration efforts. So again, if you look at security, I'm not sure how much job creation will come out of that investment. But putting that aside, you've got America, about $37 billion worth of trade with Africa, and then you've got China. And then now Russia's on the scene. And also Trump has said that you can no longer, he's not going to support countries that do business with China, Russia, and then look to the United States. If you're with the US, you have to invest and work with the US, and that's it. How do you think that those kinds of macroeconomic, political stances or policies, what do investors need to be? Do they need to be worried? Do they need to keep their doing? How can they protect? What do you think they need to be looking at?
Yeah, I think it's true that we're living in a more complex environment, but I don't think we should, lose our heads. Particularly because of public statements like that. So statements like that if you're with us, you're with us, and otherwise nothing, might not lead to policy change. But that doesn't seem most likely to me. So there's a more complex environment. There are more actors at home. Let's imagine that. So Ghana is increasingly reliant on Turkey, for example, for sources of power. If there were a diplomatic dispute between Turkey and American entities, or between Turkey and international agencies or entities, what would that mean for those Turkish entities in Ghana that Ghana is relying on for power? That sort of thing, knock-on effect, is something that is increasingly potentially of concern, but it's not that we are in a Cold War situation where I think investors should be thinking in those
interesting. Well, Nana, thank you so much. We'd love to do this again and get your thoughts on different topics. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.